Lockdown Conversations. My name is Padmini Pandit, and on this side of the globe, it's been quite a roller coaster ride for us. From zero cases to few cases to more cases to lockdown number 1, lockdown number 2, lockdown number 3, wave number 4 expected anytime now. So many events have been postponed and eventually cancelled. But I have one good news for everybody in Hong Kong. Well, there's an opportunity for all of you to enjoy a humorous night with Saurabh Pant at the comfort of your home tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. How does that sound? That's right, no need to wear your mask, no need to sanitize your hands like a freak all the time. You can sit on your favorite couch with your companion, and only in $50 you can enjoy a live show with Saurabh Pant. Cutting Chai Events in association with Punchliners presents Traveling Pants 2020. This event is sponsored by Mrs. Parveez Shroff and late Mr. Rusi Shroff. To know more about how this works, like a live stand-up comedy show, sitting at home, I have with us today the ace comedian and a very well-known name in the stand-up comedy scene in India today, Saurabh Pant himself. Let's welcome him on Lockdown Conversations. Saurabh Pant, thank you so much, first of all, for agreeing to do this for this interview. And secondly, thank you for doing this show. Traveling Pants 2020, I think we really need people like you. We need more Saurabh Pants in the world right now with the tricky situation that we are in, these days. We need some laughter. So thank you so much for doing this.
I'm working on the more Saurabh Pants. I have 2 children, but I'm trying to make them better than I am. So let's not aim so low. I'm trying to give them, like, my beta version, so they should be like, at least like, I don't know, whatever comes after beta. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I know nothing. I don't know why I started on this beta thing when I know nothing about how this works at all.
All right, very funny.
I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of these Zoom comedy shows, and the most fun part about it is that aside from the stand-up and stuff like that, what I do at the end is I spend 20 minutes just talking to the crowd. And some weird things have popped up. One of the last ones I did, this one guy was really drunk in Germany, and we spent 15 minutes talking about electronic cars.
What are you saying?
People are like, what is happening to the show? Which is great fun.
So this was live, you're saying? Oh my God. I have to watch that. Yeah. Maybe you can send us the link. I'll put it in the description so that people can catch it up.
Oh, no. That's only for people who bought tickets for the shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So talking about this show, now you would be performing for Hong Kong while you're not in Hong Kong. I mean, how often does that happen? I mean, who had ever imagined, we will be in a situation where you'll get to perform for Hong Kong without being physically present here. What do you have to say about this? What crazy times are we living in?
Padmini, I would have preferred to be in Hong Kong. Let's be perfectly honest. I would have loved to be in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of shows in Hong Kong. I think
that's true.
Probably in Asia, Hong Kong would be like second or third. And I keep popping in for private shows. I think like groups of people in Hong Kong like having me just so that they have someone to insult. So I've done shows for Gujaratis, and Gujaratis are like, hey. And then I've done shows for Sindhis, and they're like, hey. And then Punjabis as well. So
I can so imagine that.
They need a target where they're like, yeah, let's have one person who's non-Guju, non-Sindhi, non-everything. So I would have loved to be in Hong Kong right now and walking the streets of Hong Kong and all the rest of that stuff. But I'm happy to perform for people in Hong Kong in whatever format. I'll take any format right now.
I know.
And by the way, I will talk about my previous shows in Hong Kong and the incidents that happened as well.
Oh,
so a lot of people who may have come for previous shows will be like, he's talking about us. It's going to be great.
All right, there's going to be a lot of personal connection happening tomorrow. That's really exciting. I was talking to Atul Khatri last year, and we spoke about stage fright.
My sympathies to you.
Sorry?
My sympathies to you that I sincerely apologize that you had to speak to somebody like Atul Khatri. He's a terrible human being.
Oh my God, I don't know what to say about that. All right, it's guys, it's not so easy to have an interview with a comedian.
He's a thief. He steals people's money when he's not looking. See, while they're in the middle of the interview, you should have checked your wallet afterwards.
Oh my God.
The person Atul Khatri is. He's not a good guy. And you know what I love? Every time I make fun of Atul Khatri, there'll be 3 people who take it seriously. They go like, man, it's not cool, yeah. You're talking like this about Atul Khatri.
I'm scared of you right now. Oh my God, this is scary. All right.
So Atul is a friend of mine. That's why I'm making stupid jokes about him. He's a very close friend.
Of course, I know. So I was talking to
I'm telling
him.
you viewers. I'm telling you viewers because last time I made a couple of jokes about Atul. People are like, "Hey man, not cool, yeah. How can you say this about Atul, sir?"
So how's Atul with all these jokes? Is really fun?
Atul and me, when we hang out together, this is all we do. And like when we're talking to each other, it's just about pretending that the other person is more successful. And it changes. It changes from time to time. Sometimes it's me winning, sometimes it's him winning. It's great fun.
Yeah.
And most of my jokes about him being old and like terrible. And his jokes are about me being bald and terrible. So it's about the same. Sorry, I interrupted your question. You had a question about that you discussed with us.
Yeah, so we were talking about stage frights and how no matter how experienced you are, before going for every show, we all feel a bit of a stage fright and it's not all that easy. So in this situation, I'm just wondering, is it any better? Do you have any, any Zoom butterflies or what do we say, screen fright? Or is it like, you're in your comfort zone and you're not nervous at all?
Screen fright is a new term, yeah.
Yeah, I just read it.
Makes sense though. Yeah, I think it actually makes sense. But I think the thing is that the whole reason you like live shows as a comedian or a performer is because of the adrenaline.
Thrill.
It's because of the kick and so I usually do shows which go on for at least about an hour and a half or something like that. And the reason I keep going on is because it is being an adrenaline junkie, right? Like if you go bungee jumping and somebody's like, hey, listen, instead of bungee jumping for 3 minutes, how about you do it for 90 minutes? So I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do it for 90 minutes. So I know it's a very bad idea to describe my shows as jumping off a cliff and coming back. People are like, this guy is
but that that really explains, because I don't think anybody's gonna have any virtual bungee jumping experience, So, oh my God. So is it like that bad?
No,
yeah.
No, it's great. I completely enjoyed. I think a revelation that I had pretty earlier in my comedy career was to realize that the audience is not your enemy. Right? Everybody's there to have fun and people are invested, and sometimes you'll also have hecklers and people trying to interrupt the show and all that kind of stuff. Earlier I would be like, kaise, how dare you, and just start like insulting the person. Now I'm a little bit more patient. I'm like, hey, what happened? Why are you so stressed? Tell me what's happening and all that kind of stuff, which makes it actually more fun. Because then you start getting into weird backgrounds. Like one lady in one of the shows in Hong Kong, I had an interaction with her which led her to tell me why she got divorced by why she divorced her husband. And it was a hilarious story about how he wasn't there during the childbirth and all that. And obviously this is like ages back, 15 years back, so now she can laugh about it.
How old are you? 15 years back.
I'm 73 years old. I'm very old.
You have never changed, you know that, right? I mean, it's a huge compliment. I'm also jealous when I give you this compliment. I mean, you never change. You always look the same.
Yeah, it's because I shave all parts of hair. Whatever little hair I have, I shave it, so it appears like my skin is glowing. When this is just lotion and shaved head. But the Zoom shows also have the same
thrill.
I know a lot of people are a little skeptical about trying to see a Zoom show. I've realized that the key to a Zoom show is to have an attentive audience.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, what tends to happen with a Zoom show nowadays is that it actually becomes more of an intimate experience. Because not only are you watching the show, you're also watching it from your house.
Yeah.
So
you've reached people's home now.
Yeah, you've reached people's home. And I was talking to Kiku Sarda from the Kapil Sharma show, and he basically said that घर पे तो सब अपने खुद के boss होते हैं. So you're literally like, you're the king in your own house. So it's a slightly different vibe and all that kind of stuff.
True.
And I've done probably about 60 odd shows since the lockdown started.
What are you
on
saying?
Zoom.
Wow.
And the last 15 or 20 have genuinely been a lot of fun because the crowd has understood what the format is and you get to see people. And the most irritating thing people can do on a show though is say something like, "Hey, takle amar," and then just disappear. So you can't see them, or they just cover the screen like that, and they're like, "Who said that?"
Oh my God! Yeah, I was actually coming to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I think the thing is that I, not for a single moment, am not aware of the fact that it's a privilege to, especially around these times, to have a job where you're making whatever amount of money or being able to do anything. So I completely appreciate the fact that even though if I'm not being able to do live shows, at least I'm being able to do this.
Yes.
And to be honest, I've figured out that Zoom shows, it's a different kind of thing from a live show, but I've begun to enjoy them a lot. It's great fun.
I think this is path breaking. I mean, I think this could be the future. I hope not. I really sincerely hope not. But who knows? I mean, how long can you just keep waiting for events to happen? I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And also, I just introduced, in my introduction, I said the same thing. You at least don't have to wear a mask and not to worry. And, you know, don't be a freak washing your hands and sanitizing them all the time. You can sit at home, like you said, be the boss of your own space and enjoy your show. So, who knows, this could be the future. I think this is phenomenal, what you're doing. So talking...
I think one thing is that I like the reason, one of the big reasons I would prefer doing the show in Hong Kong is because I like Hong Kong a lot. Yeah. And also I have children in my house. So any reason to not be around taking care of kids is a great excuse.
Are they happy to have you around? I mean, let's talk about their perspective. What is it like for them?
They're just like, who's this guy and why is he here all the time? They're just looking at me, they're like, why are you here? Jana, kuch kaam do something with your life. But I've actually been having a lot of fun with my kids. My son and me are, like, I was terrible at maths or arithmetic as the case may be. And we spent a lot of time learning maths and teaching maths like... So it's been good. We've been having a lot of fun. I was playing cricket with them downstairs and trying to teach my 5-year-old son how to play cricket.
Aww.
And it's great because you, like, I mean, there's nothing better than playing cricket with a 5-year-old to feel like, my God, I'm Virat Kohli. It's just so bad. It's so bad at cricket. So you just feel good.
I'm so curious, you know, how are you as a parent? Are you a funny parent? Are you really chilled out? You know, that's what I would imagine you to be, but ghar mein sab alag hote hain, so I'm very curious to know, are you a Kadoos daddy or really chill, fun, super cool dad?
It depends on the mood, right? Like, I mean, like, it's impossible if you're just chilled out all the time with the kids, but after a point, though, they will burn your house. Like, that is, like, Papa to chill hai, just like, let's set fire to the house. So you have to oscillate between being very strict and being very fun. I mean, it depends. I compartmentalize where it's like sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's the other person, and then sometimes also you have to pretend to understand things.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to teach my son geography, and halfway through I realized like I don't know anything. What is the capital of this state? I'm like, I don't know. I'll have to check this and Google it and all that stuff.
Oh my God.
Nothing like having
Thank God for Google.
During the lockdown, I think the number of parents who discovered that हमें कुछ नहीं मालूम is a lot. Because we're like, हम इतने बेवकूफ कैसे हैं? मेरे 5-year-old child is like, listen, I think this is wrong.
Can't deny that.
Yeah, but you oscillate between the two things.
And then again, how were you as a child? How were you as a son? What kind of a dad makes Saurabh Pant, the comedian? What kind of parenting is going to result into? He must be very liberal, I assume.
No, I mean, I think you're talking about very sad and miserable story, and this should never be repeated. I'm joking. My parents were are still very, very good parents and great parents, in fact. I grew up a pretty shy kid, and I think I still had a very strange sense of humor, even as a 6-year-old. Because I remember we used to live in Delhi in a place called Pragati. We had long back. And my mom got angry at me about something. And she said, go to hell or something like that. So I thought it would be a really funny joke to go. I went and stood next to the garbage dump of the complex. And these people are looking for me for like half an hour. They're like, where is he gone? And I'm standing in the garbage dump. And my mom is like, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, you said go to hell. So here I am. So even then I had a horrible sense of humor. So, I mean, that was the first official public joke I cracked, and my mom was like every audience member going like, what is this level of comedy?
No, but you were a funny kid. I mean, your classmates, your schoolmates, they knew this is going to happen, this is going to be your future?
So I think till I was about 9, I was like at least like a little fit because we lived in Delhi. So वहाँ पर मतलब दूध लेने के लिए भी 2 किलोमीटर चलना पड़ता. You had to keep walking. And I was pahadi. I studied 2 years in Simla as well.
Okay.
And then I came to Mumbai and I was a really fat kid. And I think what comes with I was like 86 kilos and I was 5'2". I mean, people just used to roll me down hills and all.
Can't imagine that.
Yeah, so I think what used to happen was the way to fit in was to make jokes. And that was sort of the thing that endeared me to people. And also, specifically when I got into college and all, the way to get the attention of women was to make dumb jokes. And eventually one of them would think that, okay, maybe there is potential beyond these shitty jokes. I mean, nobody did, but that was my hope.
But that's deep. That's deep. So you are also deep. And are you spiritual? I was just looking through your YouTube account, and there was something about spirituality. You know, you and Sumukhi and you know, all of you guys having a, what was that all about? Is that a show that you are hosting?
So I'm doing a show called Wake Up with Saurabh, where it's just to keep myself sane and alert during the lockdown. I decided that I'm going to do YouTube live every day
Cool.
with a guest. And then slowly I realized that's not possible. So now I do it 4 times a week, and we've had some great guests. We've had Harsha Bhogle, Ramchandra Guha,
so
Jwala
cool.
Gutta, who's the Indian badminton player, and Deepa Karmakar, who's the Olympian, and Kidambi Shrikant, and pretty much all of India's top comedians who happen to be like close friends and stuff like that. So I think the one you're talking about is I was doing a bit with Kenny Sebastian and Naveen Richard and Sumukhi Suresh.
I think there were two episodes, no? Two. I think I saw two.
It's one episode.
Okay. Break.
It seems very long. It seems very long because it's 2 hours.
Okay. That explains.
It's like every episode is 1.5, 2 hours. So people are like, is this 2 episodes? It's just 1 episode.
Oh, okay.
So as part of the idea is that you want to talk to people and let them talk about whatever they feel.
Yeah.
So Naveen Richard, who's a stand-up comedian, happened to be talking about spirituality. So we spent 45 minutes talking about spirituality. So we've had like people like William Dalrymple, who's a historian.
Yeah.
So we spoke to him about history. We had Sanjay Jha, who's the ex-Congress spokesperson. So we spoke to him about politics. But the idea is that you talk about anything.
Yeah.
And it's a fun show, man. We've done like 71 episodes so far. So
What are you
that was one of the
saying?
things.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
we did a lot,
Wow. Okay, now
अभी तो मेरा पूरा घर ये Zoom पे चल रहा है. Zoom and YouTube lives is where I'm running this bedstead that you see behind was bought because of YouTube Live. So, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, then talking about these audience, how are the you know, like the screen audience different from the stage audience or live show audience? Live show audience versus online audience. Let's put it that way. Equally nasty?
So the first thing that get used, nasty to nahi. I think it depends on the kind of show you're performing. Again, I have a very simple philosophy that the only time crowds are nasty is when you're doing a corporate show or a private show. But even that's become less now because I think if you're doing a private show where there are 100 people, like about 25 people will at least know who I am.
Yeah.
And those rest of the 25 will be like, I've heard that this guy's kind of funny, let's listen. So that tends to happen in a Zoom. And the big advantage of Zoom is that you can just mute people, which you can't do in real life.
Oh yeah.
Like if somebody is behaving obnoxious in a live show, maximum what you can do is like, security sir, please take him out. You're just like mute. It's great. So you eliminate that threat very quickly, which, I mean, honestly, that's, again, as I said, in 60 shows, that's not really happened. And the show that we're doing on Sunday, I think, is going to be proof of the fact that as long as the audience is enthusiastic and attentive and there for the stand-up, they will have a good time. The only thing that you get used to as a comedian, which literally took me about 15 shows, is the timing.
Okay.
Because not only is there's like a 2-second delay between the laughter previously, right?
Yeah.
So if you make a joke, then you literally every single time you just have to wait that extra 2 seconds, which is very interesting. Because
Is
you
it?
make the joke and then you just have to pause.
Oh my God, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So initially
So
तो
that's
बड़ा
one of the
मुश्किल
things.
हुआ होगा, right? Like you said, the first 15 shows must have been really tricky. I mean, to to sink in कि it takes time.
और सबसे मुसीबत की बात यह है कि मैं बहुत तेज बोलता हूँ, तो मैं रुकता नहीं हूँ ऑडियंस के लाफ्टर के लिए, मैं बस आगे चले जाता हूँ और ऑडियंस इज लाइक, भाई हमारी लाफ्टर वहाँ रह गई है, तो यू हैव टू स्लो डाउन एंड ब्रिंग इट बैक टू देम. सो आई थिंक इट्स एक्चुअली हेल्प my pacing quite well, and as you'll discover in the Zoom shows, it's like watching a normal stand-up show.
Okay.
And the big advantage here is that you can drink your own house ka drink. Like, so you don't have to pay the amount that the comedy club will charge you.
I agree.
Great.
And you can also watch
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
right? I mean, at least you and I think it's so much more pocket friendly. You can just sit with your husband or your boyfriend or whoever, and you can watch it together. That's okay, right?
you can sit with both together. I mean, depending on the kind of relationship you have. That's all good. But yeah, the screen sharing is fun because what happens with the screen, like I did one show, okay? So what happens is that, okay, the Zoom, sometimes you'll have like 2 people watching, sometimes you'll have 4 people watching, right? And the ticket price is the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the ticket price for Zoom screen, so as you said, pocket friendly. I did one show where there was a family of 17 people watching the show.
Really?
So we had sold about
Paise
70
vasool.
tickets, and I'm like, wait, this is technically 86 tickets now. 70 people.
But does that hurt? Does that hurt? बुरा लगा?
नहीं, मजा आया. वो लोग हंस रहे थे अच्छी तरह. वो काफी. I mean, it's not like you can control it, right? You can't, excuse me, auntie, you go to the other room. Uncle, what is this? Go to the bathroom. Uncle, you go and cook some food. Like, you can't cook out of your own house.
How interactive are these
That's what
shows?
makes it fun. Yeah. Sorry?
How interactive are these shows? You can, I mean, is it more interactive than having a live show, or you don't, everything is muted and you finish your thing and then you talk to audience, or there's no interaction at all? How does it work?
No. You don't need the audience. You need the laughter always. Is the point.
Wow, that must be fun.
There's different heads bobbing, which is damn annoying. But so you need the audience like unmuted so that you can hear the laughter in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the problem is that I understand. Like, I live in a house where there are 2 children.
Yeah.
So at any given point of time, to have peace is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
So if I'm watching a show, for example, I make sure that I'm on mute because there are children going like it's very disturbing to see, ha ha ha, papa, I did potty. Like, so it's slightly hard to make that connect happen. And that's just my wife's thing, that. But unnecessary joke. But the problem that tends to happen with the interactions with the Zoom show is that because the reactions are slightly slower, like it takes that 2 extra seconds. So I prefer doing them at the end of the show.
Okay.
And at the end of the show, so I'm like bindas. Like 25, we've done meet and greets after the show on Zoom, which have gone on for 45-50 minutes because the crowd was asking that many questions and having that much fun. So I think what the big advantage for me with Zoom has become is that not only is it about the stand-up show, it's also about the
personal connection.
Hangout afterwards for about 25-30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's great. I've learned to embrace it, and I genuinely quite enjoy it now.
Yeah, I'm sure as an audience I would like to say the same thing. It's so cool that you get to talk to your favorite stand-up comedian after the show. How often does that happen? You don't get that opportunity on a live show, right?
Yeah.
So that is really cool. Now I earlier I used to ask this question. This was like my typical question. That how comedy has changed in India in past 10 years. But I would like to ask you how it has changed in the last 6 months. I think it must have been a massive change. No?
I think the big change that's happened is that, and I feel bad for a lot of young comedians who got into stand-up recently.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them, what they decided was that the 2 centers of actually the main place to stand-up, to pursue stand-up is Mumbai. So a lot of them came from their towns and they decided, okay, now we've finally taken off. Now we can move in and do whatever. And then the pandemic happened again. I know that it affected lots of other jobs as well. But those are the people I feel the worst for, because you literally are at the cusp of starting a new life's journey, and suddenly it's cut short. So those are the people I feel the worst for. In fact, one of the YouTube lives that I do, one of the things that I tried to do was that I was trying to bring in comedians who are not that popular but also very funny, who just started, so that it's at least something fun for them to also do. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to expand your audience, but it's just an interesting thing. But the big change has happened is that it's pushed all of us out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'll speak personally. I realized about 5 days into the lockdown, after having done due research, that this is going to go on for at least 6 months. And I immediately also realized that I have EMIs to pay. So just saying that I can't do anything is virtually impossible with kids and all that stuff around. So I started doing YouTube lives, started doing Zoom shows, I started doing a lot more brand deals. So over the last, for example, this month, October, I've done like 6 or 7 brand deals. I need to sort of work towards that. I also commissioned to write my 4th book, which I wasn't planning to do. I've written 3 novels prior to this. I'm writing a non-fiction book
Oh, wow.
this year. And
what is it about? About you?
It's either going to be called Punch for Prime Minister or I forgot about the other title one.
Okay.
It's basically me talking about all the things that are happening in India and about how people should vote for me to be the Prime Minister. And it's pure satire. I don't want to be Prime Minister. Please don't get insecure and say that, excuse me, follow due democratic. It's a joke. It's a satire. It's not serious. Please. So I think that's what it did. And a lot of us also started spending a lot of time. Like, for example, I've written a novel. The second novel I've written was called Under Delhi. And now we're working on pitching it to OTT platforms like your Amazons, your Netflix, your Z5s, all the rest. So, and everybody's doing that. So I think what's happened, again, the luxury that we have in our careers is the option of being able to do it online. Yeah. So I, for a second, not for a second am I going to complain about this, because again, I think it's a luxury and it's a privilege. So I've just figured out new ways to sort of, and it's worked out quite nicely, because the YouTube channel, for example, has grown by about 25-30% in the last 6 months because of the YouTube live.
Much more interaction. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that sounds like you've been doing a lot of work now, which is amazing. And I also found out that you're deep and, spiritual. Yeah.
It's all a lie. It's all an act I'm putting on. I'm not deep at all. I'm shallow.
No, I mean, I don't know why, but that's the first impression everybody has. Not the first impression, that's the basic impression everybody has about stand-up comedians. Sorry for saying that. But, okay, I discovered that you're deep, and which is amazing and impressive. So
I will accept that as a compliment, and you can donate on my super chat on my next YouTube live.
All right, thank you so much once again. Any last minute you want to you want to say something about Hong Kong audience? Something nice?
I really enjoy Hong Kong audiences. I'll tell you a really fun thing that what I like about the Hong Kong audience is that Indians anywhere are always very supportive of other Indians doing anything. I remember I've done the comedy club takeout comedy about 3 times, and the second time that I did it, I think it was like the first show was great, I mean audience wise, and the second show was slightly less numbers, but Indians always make it appear like it's bigger. Yeah. So while there were slightly less people in the room, it didn't feel that way at all. And so which is why I always enjoy. And then the third time I came again, it was great, because the word spread amongst Indians saying, dude, it was great the last time and all that kind of stuff. So what I like about Indians anywhere is that our overpopulation has really helped the career of comedians. And as I said, I've done a lot of shows in Hong Kong, and I've met a lot of Indians, and it's always been an absolute delight, and they've been very nice and kind to me. So I appreciate it, and I hope you guys are all taking care of your minds, and everybody's head is in a good place.
It's
and
crazy.
I would say that this show is just going to be, it's a silly, fun show about travel. It's all about me traveling all across the world. So come live vicariously through me, and I can just guarantee you that you'll have a fun time. And it'll make you feel better about everything that's happening. And watch it with 16 people in your family.
It's allowed. I'm sure it's going to be a fun show, and I can't wait to see it tomorrow. So thank you so much once again, thank you so much for doing these shows, and thank you so much for this conversation. It was amazing. My cheeks are hurting.
Padmini, again, tickets are on punchliners.in. So please buy the tickets, and I'll see you tomorrow, which is Sunday. I think it's 5 p.m. IST.
Yeah, it's 7:30.
Time that would be in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's at 7:30 p.m. Yeah. 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. All right then.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Padmini, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.